Greetings, Israel. Brother DFG. Hey, brothers and sisters. I just want to take a little time with you today. It's pretty early, so if my voice sounds a little hoarse, it's only because I haven't been awake very long, at least consciously awake very long. But the reason I'm coming at you this early, or coming to my brothers and sisters this early, is that as I rested, or as I was resting, not sleep, but resting, Abba began to talk to me again and put upon, my heart the burden that he has for Israel. Of course, Judah, that includes us as well. And that burden that he put upon me to share with my brothers and sisters, it's something we've discussed, before. As a matter of fact, we had a Bible study right around the 11th, give or take, of January, this past January. Now, almost 2 months ago, give or take, almost 3 months ago now. And in that Bible study, we were talking about, transformation and how that, Lucifer, or Satan in this case, was able to transform himself and present himself to our people, mainly, to the patriarch Abraham, and then, of course, his wife Sarah, and then, later on, his son, Isaac, and even Ishmael, and Eliezer, I might add, and how he had transformed himself in many different ways, because his intention was to deceive the people of Yah, to stop Yah's plan, or to stop Yah's purpose for Israel. And inside of that, along with that, we were able to use the book of Joshua, one of the apocryphal books that you can find, in your regular King James Version Bible, or whatever version you have. You'll find it in the book of Joshua. If you follow this channel, you've heard me talk about it before. But you'll find it in the book of Joshua, and you will also find it in the book of Samuel. I think I want to say it's 1 Samuel, but if you're following the channel, then you know what I'm talking about. If you're not following the channel, then you may want to take some time. I'll give you the first one because I can recite it. It's Joshua chapter 10, verse 13. The other place I want to say is 1 Samuel 10 and 18, but I'll go there real quick. With the hope that Abba Yah does not allow the enemy, to seep in and distract me from sharing something that I know he wants Israel, to hear. But let's go here. I'll go here real fast and see if we can get that. So, looks like it's going to be 2 Samuel, not 1 Samuel. And it's going to be 2 Samuel, chapter 1, verse 18. So in his transformation, I'm talking about Satan, his plan has always been to cut off Abba Yah's plan for Israel. And he wants us to clearly understand that our enemy does not look like what we were taught our enemy was to look like. And we were taught that our enemy, had horns on his head, or, our enemy is someone who wanted to get into a fight with us, who was always, maybe picking with us, just contrary. That was your enemy. And of course, if you want to go to a higher scale, then you could get into, war and things like that. If you're talking about governments and, the broad expanding enemy in its broadest sense, you could get into that. But for Israel, his message to us was to be careful that we had the enemy who would always be there to deceive us, to change us, to cut us off. And that's why he told us in the book of Jeremiah, to be careful with the heathens and learn none of the heathens' ways, because he knew that the heathens' way would be a way to cut us off from being a people. That the heathens method, whether he was using Balaam to encourage Pharaoh to throw our, sons, into the Nile River, where he was going and causing, certain of our sisters to be barren, like, Rachel for a long time, who could not have, children, because Joseph came from Rachel. Without Joseph, we don't survive. And then, of course, coming in with alternative, what they would call lifestyles, to cut off our people, and using, the entertainment industries. And who's behind this stuff? Just remember this, and I will tell you, you don't have to remember anything. Satan is behind it. And Satan is a plural, title. It's like saying God. There are many gods and there are many Satans, or many devils. But who's behind this agenda? Again, to cut off the seed of our people. Again, it's the same alien, the same stranger, the same fallen ones, or children of the fallen ones. And I'm going to give you some backup. I'm going to give you some proof, again, to back up what I'm sharing here. Because if y'all woke me up this early in the morning, to bring this message out, then there's an extremely important group of people to Abba who needs to hear this. So I hope that whoever they may be, whoever you are, that you're listening intently, because again, maybe this is a final warning for some of you. Just yesterday, and again, we're talking about transformations here, and I'll get into it. But you'll see that Satan is the god. Satan is the god of transformation. And transformation is, could also be expanded to the word imitation. In other words, if they can't be it, they're going to pretend to be it, or act like it, or try to change themselves into it. There's a classic example of yesterday in Nashville. I'll give you an example. Hold on to your hats, brothers and sisters. But there was an incident that happened yesterday in Nashville. And we know about this Audrey Hale person. And this Audrey Hale person went into Nashville, or went into a school in Nashville. And according to them, what they told us, that she was 28 years old, and she went into the school because they really haven't given us a clear reason, but, killed 6 people, 3 children and 3 adults. And then, according to them, using their words, she was killed. Now, interestingly enough, they released the name of the victims before they released the name of the shooter, which I thought was kind of odd. But then again, I know the way he felt, the heathen. I think if they're taking that long to tell us, identify who it was, then it must have been a heathen, because that's the only time they drag their feet, when something of a natural event has happened of violence, and they won't say who it is. It's typically because they're trying to hide something. Again, the ways of the heathens. They're never transparent. And before they present something to you, you can believe they're going to go back, they're going to evaluate it, they're going to vet it, they're going to think about the pros and cons of it, and then they're going to come up with some smooth words, like David said, the words are smooth as butter. In other words, they're going to come up with a real clever way to say whatever it is they're trying to say, especially when it's one of theirs. In this particular situation, was bearing on me, or a bird was bothering me last. It wasn't my burden last night. I was just bothered by it, last night, because, when I found out that the she turns out to be, a transgender, woman, then it began to make sense to me. So here it is, you're pushing the narrative out here that a woman has gone into a school and created, this horrific act, only to find out later that they were taking their time, dragging their feet, for 2 reasons. One, because it was a heathen, but secondly, because they didn't, according to them, this is quote unquote, they didn't know how to present, they wanted to be careful how they presented the transgender, woman, so that they would not offend the transgender community, even though this was a vicious, rotten, evil heathen who killed innocent children and men. And they were even careful in the heathen's death to make sure they didn't offend, because it's an agenda of theirs, because they need that agenda, get this, brothers and sisters, to continue to perpetuate that upon Israel as an alternative to being one who can procreate. And if you can hinder them from procreating, right? If you can hinder that if you can hinder them from procreating, then what you do is you limit the ability or stop the ability altogether to populate. And one of the most important assignments that our Yah gave to his sons and his daughters was what? To be fruitful and to multiply. And in order to be fruitful and to multiply, you need a coming together of what Yah says natural. Man with woman, woman with man. But the enemy, again, because of his hatred of Elohim and the children of Elohim, Israel, then he's going to transform himself, and he's going to take in that transformation of himself, he's going to push that upon Yah's people, so that Yah people believe and trust that their way is a better way because they incentivize it. You know, Brother Mendez and I were together this past Sunday afternoon, and he was showing me to the high school he went to, a very prominent high school, but it was in the inner cities. You know, the high school was, and interestingly enough, that inside of that what the school was, it was a place where we would call the urban area. It was downtown, but many downtowns have an urban area attached right next to it. Urban means poor black people, poor Spanish people, or poor others, okay? Typically black, Hispanic. But really, it's Judah if you're talking about the United States. Wherever you are on this flat earth, you can apply the same thing there. But directly across the school, directly across the school from the high school, there's set a Planned Parenthood clinic. And, you know, some might think that's coincidental because we don't know the ways of the heathen, because we don't research much. We pretty much, most of our people, you know, we just someone gives us something and it sounds right to us and it makes us feel a certain way, especially, you know, and that can be bad or good. And then we run with it as though we have done all the research in the world and talk about it like it's an absolute fact. And more times than not, those who do that have no idea what the hell they're talking about, respectfully. There's something to be said about transparency and honesty. And when you see a Planned Parenthood sitting right in the middle of an inner city, in a school where, you know, matter of fact, there were two schools there. Let me be careful. Let me not be careful, but let me tell the story in its entirety. You have what they would call almost a preparatory school. And then right next door to the preparatory school is the preparatory school is the Central High School. And that's the school for all the poor people, or those who are not what you would consider, you know, elite students. And all they got to do is walk right past the prep school, and the next place they're going to see is a Planned Parenthood clinic. And you know what happens there. The story is what it is. But when you look back to this situation that happened in Nashville, you know, they were trying to protect the lifestyle more than they even cared about protecting, you know, or cared about the suffering, you know, of those who suffered loss there. They were more careful with that because they can't allow that to be attacked, because if they allow the transformation, and you know what I'm saying now, by now you should have figured this out, but they're more concerned about protecting the transformation and their ability to continue to push that agenda than they care about the violent act that was perpetuated on innocent, you know, those who were innocent, who had had not caused any harm to that particular heathen. Then, you know, how that was impacting those people and their families. And talking about how they were trying to protect it. Not saying that they were okay with it. but how they were trying to make sure that they presented this thing the right way. So they were caught up in, well, let's keep till you say woman. And if you go back and you read that article said woman, 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 28-year-old woman, woman, woman. And you have to look it real close to find out that that was born a man. So it was another one of their kind doing a mass shooting in a school. A male of their kind doing, but because they're, they hide things, then they're going to say, they're going to blame it on a female. And you females out there right now who are embracing, these agendas, I'm going to say it to you again, you're doing it at your own risk. And for the most part, you're doing it to your own demise. Because now, they're going around saying a woman did it. And you're a woman, and you're sitting there like, wow, now women doing the same thing the guys were doing. That's the first thing I thought. In all actuality, no, it wasn't. And just because they say it is doesn't make it is. And that's the problem again with us. Well, because that's what they said is. Doesn't matter. So I can tell you a rabbit is a horse. Is it a horse or a rabbit? Again, if someone tell you a rabbit is a horse, my question to you, if you have your right mind, is it a rabbit or is it a horse? And if you tell me it's up to how one see themselves, then I'm gonna tell you, your logic is off. And that's the nicest way I can say that to you. Your logic is way off. And most of us wouldn't let anybody tell us that anyway. We're like, no, that's not a horse, that's a rabbit. But because the heathens say, because they want to push their agenda, that, it's a rabbit, it's a horse, even though we know it's a rabbit, then all of a sudden, somehow or another, we start going around saying that the rabbit is a horse. And before the eyes of Abba Yah, brothers and sisters, that look throughout the whole earth, 2 Chronicles 16 and 9, you better believe he's listening and watching all of this mess. And all of us who are participating in that and going along with it and saying, I find no fault, I don't see nothing wrong with it. People can decide what they want. Not when you're perverting Abba Yah's creation. You cannot. When you're perverting Abba Yah's creation, you do not have well, you can say it, but there will be consequences. Yes, you can say whatever you want to say. You can believe whatever you want to believe, but there will be consequences. So for those who want to run out here and say, well, they have a right and it's their right, that okay, you just understand that Abba Yah says they don't. And I know some of Israel especially think they're so big and bad, they'll fight Abba Yah. They'll, in their minds. I don't believe that. I don't believe the Tanakh. I don't believe no Torah. I don't believe it. So they'll fight. And they'll lose. But before I go any further, with that, I looked up a couple of things, brothers and sisters, because, when we study this particular message out, it's going to come up again. So again, remember, if I want to convince you of something, if people want to convince you of something, the way to do it, brothers and sisters, or way they will do it, they will push it on you, push it on you, push it on you, push it on you, and they will keep on pushing. It's almost like an earworm when you hear a song where even if you don't like the song, and the song just, and when the song gets finished playing, then the song plays in your head over and over and over. And they do that intentionally. That's a part of a hidden agenda of the enemy is to use solid mind control by pushing out certain narratives, and putting certain lyrics or putting certain words inside of songs and lyrics. And they know if they can get you to start singing that, or at least in a place where you could hear it or see it, it'll only be a matter of time before you embrace it. Art imitating life. And again, this is nothing new. Y'all willing on our Bible study Wednesday night, we're gonna dive deeper into art imitating life. But again, to get or persuade or to possess one's heart and mind, you have to use a certain propaganda method. And that propaganda method is repetitive dialogue or repetitive education. Let me just keep on informing and saying and repeating. Teaching is repeating until learning has occurred. Teaching is repeating till learning has occurred. So I'm going to keep on teaching you till you learn it. I'm going to keep on teaching you till you understand it. I'm going to keep on teaching till you get it. And I'm going to keep on teaching until you do it. And that's, for the most part, the education systems around the world. But who's behind the education system? Again, the core of it, the foundational message is who's the hidden hand in the back and what is their intention. You know, along with teaching is repeating, you know, there's another metaphor that's used. They say make the lie big, you know, and repeat the lie over and over, and the people are prone to believe it. And again, yesterday was a classic example. You know, they had said that so much, even the media, even the police departments, they didn't know what to do. They didn't know what to say. They were afraid to say that this was a man or once was a man. They were afraid to say it's still a man, but they were afraid to say that it once was a man. Again, a rabbit is a rabbit whether I want to call it a horse or not. And if I call it anything other than I'm a jackass, a donkey, dumb. Isaiah warned us about that, right? You know, the ass and the ox. But anyway, so that's one aspect I wanted to bring out, is that repetitive. And that's why we need to be careful who we listen to and what we're listening to. And remember, there's always an attack on your mind, and even more importantly, on the mind of our children. The innocent amongst us. I'm talking especially Israel. And again, these are not agendas we're creating, brothers and sisters. We were told again, learn not the ways of the heathens. It would be one thing if the education system was surrounded around teaching us the Tanakh, because that's our history book. Then I get it. Teach it, repeat it, put it on the doorpost, put it, you know, on the bedpost. You know what I'm saying? You know, sing about it in songs. You know what I'm saying? Write about it in letters. You know, love, whatever you're doing. But with this agenda that they're pushing, this education that they're pushing, that's the heathens' way. And we again told us not to learn the ways of the heathen. And when Abba Yah says not, he means don't do it at all. Because when you do it, you open up your children. We will open up our children to this filth and wickedness. And for these demons to take over our children and then cause our children not to fulfill Yah's purpose. Because again, the heathen, if Abba Yah says he wants you to be fruitful and multiply, what do you think the heathen is going to be thinking? To support that? Or to do everything in their power to curve it, slow it down, or cut it off. Again, Planned Parenthood part. Catch them young. Catch them during their sexual experiment time if they're not raised, you know, by mothers and fathers of Zion. You know, their sexual curiosity. And then when that oops, I didn't get my period moment happened, then say, well, there's some people over there that can kind of help you understand what your options are. You don't even have to ask your mom. Just go on, it's right around the corner, right over there. Just go past the classic high school and you'll see it. And nobody has to know. You don't have any money? We'll find a way to help you pay for it. But a bigger question, why? Because the heathen lie, and they're going to say, because we don't want to hurt your life, like they give a damn about poverty. That just like those folk were in Sodom and Gomorrah, didn't give a damn about the needy and the poor. This is about extermination, elimination. So instead of to create, it is to destroy. And who they're trying to destroy? The seed of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. You, if you're Israel. And who's trying to do it? Can we say, you know, all right. I want to tie this in right. let's move over just a little bit. We're constantly, and I'm still here, but we're constantly hearing about aliens. Aliens are coming. Aliens are coming. Now, do I believe there's fallen ones who are going to reappear upon this earth and really show their real selves? I'm talking about those who are disformed and looking like half man, half beast, all kind of things. Yeah, it's coming. You live long enough to know if you don't die before your time, you'll see it. And you can die before your time, by the way. Go read Ecclesiastes. I want to say it's 10 and 17. Why die before thy time? Don't be foolish. But along with that, there are other aliens that we were told to be on the lookout for, or we didn't want around us. The latter part. Who have been here. They've been here since we studied in the book of Joshua. They've been here since, their forefathers came and slept with our, or the mothers of men. I'm not going to say Israel, mom. The mothers of men. Those who were created by Yah. But remember, everyone that's created by Yah is not Israel. Israel is Israel. There were other people on this earth, Canaanites, Hittites, other ones, who are melanated people who were here, who were not the children of the aliens, but they were the children of transgression, idolaters to the core. But in this case, we're talking about the children of the fallen ones, and the book of Enoch, describes them very well in chapter 105. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go back and look at the last couple of series, and you'll see it. But inside these aliens, I decided to look up the word alien. Now check this out, brothers and sisters. Alien's definition. Now we believe that the aliens are the fallen ones. At least I do. But it goes alien's definition. First one they call it a stranger. Keep these words in mind. The stranger, the foreigner, the outsider, the non-residents, the outcast, the non-native, the outlander, and last but equally as important, a pariah. And that's someone that is despised or rejected. Does that sound like our Yah's definition of the heathens? Aliens? Again, let me read it off to you again. Stranger, foreigners, outsiders, non-residents, non-resident, outcast, non-native, outlander, pariahs, one who Abba Yah despise and reject. So when they sit and talk about, aliens, and try to push us into thinking or looking for something in the, in the what they would call outer space, which there is no outer space. They're talking about there's a dome. The book says so. There's a firmament that's covering. There are things under that, and it cannot be penetrated by no man. They haven't been outside of there. Not man. But I digress with that. And then, I guess another word, since I'm talking definition here, and then we're going to get into the word. Transformation. And check this word out. What does it mean to transform? It's to make a thorough or dramatic change in form, appearance, or character. Again, the word to transform or transformation means what? A dramatic change in form. They changed themselves to angels of light, or they made themselves look like men. Watch this so you'll know who's behind this transformation, transgender movement. You need to know this. This is important, because too many of our people who are embracing this or see this as a non-issue, that somehow or another Abba Yah loves everybody. There's a wicked tied somebody heathen Christian pastor was talking about some foolishness like that a couple of days ago. My name of my church is the Transformation Church, and the word trans is in the name. And demon, wicked Israelite demon. You talking about the epitome of a wolf in sheep's clothing? But what's sad is he's not the only one. There are many people in our own household, because they've been educated by these heathens when we were told not to learn these ways, and who are saying the exact same thing. Matter of fact, they were applauding this devil in this Transformation Church. Todd somebody, I bet if you put in Transformation Church and type in TODD, you'll see, Israelite man appears to be probably in his late 30s, maybe early 40s. Just wickedness under the guise of acceptance. But again, what does it mean to transform? To what? Make a dramatic change in form, appearance, again, or character. But let's get to the book and let's talk in terms of what happened with Abraham and Isaac and Sarah to stop the promise from coming. Because remember, if Isaac would have perished, then there would have been no Jacob, which means there would be no Israel. In other words, there would be no us. There would not have been a Joseph either, let me be clear. So if you think that this is a new thing, that they're using, all of these methods to cause, the natural use of the man and the natural use of the woman to be perverted. And if you think that is about, independence, my sisters, and self-sufficiency, my sisters, and finding someone else across the borders, my brothers, unfortunately, you're being deceived. I'm not saying what you're embracing is not what you want to embrace. I'm saying you're being deceived into believing that is what your problem is, when that has nothing to do with your problem. You're fulfilling their need for their problem. Because as you chase away and leave your sisters behind, then who you leaving your sisters to? And I know some of them are in the state of mind that they're in need of serious help. I get it. I mean, I'm not blind to what you see, my brothers, and I understand who wants rebellion in their house. I know I wouldn't. But again, just understand who's pushing what and why they're pushing is what your brother is saying. And and sisters, could you be playing into your own self-destruction by telling you or giving you the appearance, remember transformation, the appearance that this is a good thing. You don't need a man. And even worse, a stranger would do. When the seed of a stranger makes your child a stranger, your child is no longer you anymore. Sisters, I'm talking about. You've changed maybe thousands of years of generations by your one decision that someone other than your kind will do to father your children. You've just altered generations of your own bloodline. And nobody wants to talk about this. You just killed it. And now your bloodline is tied into some other man's bloodline, some other nation, other people's bloodline. And you just stopped. And except you got back with another Israelite man, that you ended the bloodline for all of your generation. And you really think that's a good thing. You did it. You have the power to do it. Or when you make these proclamations that you don't need a man and woman will do. Again, killing your own seed. I don't mean you took a weapon and didn't know. If you go into these clinics, you did. I'm talking about, y'all know what I'm talking about, the ones who couple right down the street from where I told you my brother's high school is. If you go in there, yes, you did. You were part of that destruction. But when you stop the natural use of a woman, again, you're contributing to the procreation of your own kind. And that's, according to the book, that's not right. And then we got another group of sisters over there, somehow or another been persuaded that, just to stay celibate and give my body to Abba Yah. Well, you read that at in the book. Where did you read in the book that you're supposed to be celibate and you're just supposed to give your body to Abba Yah? Now I'm talking about for those who can make a decision. They have access to a righteous man of Yah. I'm not talking about going out here and being some heathen's whore. It's not what I'm talking about here. Israelite heathen as well. I'm not talking about laying up with him or her. The daughters are here to ultimately become mothers and grandmothers and teachers, elders. The men are here to become sons, fathers, and then ultimately elders to teach the sons and to protect the nation. And if we advocate that, we leave all of ourselves vulnerable to the heathens who are already here, these aliens, to destroy and make sure that the name of Israel is no more. Again, David was one of the many warners. But if you look at the way they behave, the way they move, it's always been about cutting off the seed. And we never stop and ask why. Because they know that seed, our seed, is the most powerful seed that could ever exist. And that seed had the power, left alone to itself, to eliminate their existence. Because our seed could eliminate them. Because the seed is in the man. And they know it. So you are always going to be the target, daughters of Zion, brothers, men of Zion. We are always going to be the target of the heathen in their agendas. And one of their biggest agendas is the alphabet agenda. And y'all know what I'm talking about. And that agenda has nothing to do with freedom and liberation and civil rights or anything like that, the lies they're trying to push in Africa. I'll give Africans credit so far. They've held out and said, that's y'all thing. That ain't our thing. Y'all want to do business, we can talk business. You want to talk about economics, we can talk economics. If you want to talk about lifestyle, y'all keep that over there. Don't bring that mess over here. And for that, I say, I applaud. But what would be better if we were taking a stance here in where we are, in this wicked Babylonian system. It would be better if we were saying the same thing. Some of us are, but too many of us are not. We're tranquil. We're just good with it. Everybody got a right to do what they want to do, and so that means that our Yah's law, statutes, and commandments, according to you, don't matter. Because if we have a right to do whatever we want to do, then that means that Abba Yah writing was in vain. His Tanakh and his Torah was in vain. And that in itself is blasphemy. And again, it's very important that we know, who the aliens are. It's important we understand what this transformation thing is all about, including, the pronoun aspects of it. What is the question? We should always, there's always saying, what's the question behind the question? In other words, what's the real reason? Why are you really mad? Yeah, I know you claim that, I offended you because I said something you don't like, but there's something else going on here. You guys, any of y'all ever had that experience with another person? Say, there's something else here. And so we have to peel back the layers, brothers and sisters, and ask those tough questions. What is going on? What is the altar? What is the hidden agenda? And if they see us as being the only species on this planet that can eliminate them, because it's them and then it's us. It's Israel and it's the heathens. So if they see us as a threat to eliminate them, what do you think they're going to be spending most of their time doing as it relates to us, other than to return the favor, so to speak, to turn the tables? Not favor, turn the tables. And that's why the Torah, the Tanakh, all these things that we discover and learn, because it teaches us Yahuwah's way, which is the most important thing, but it also exposes the heathens so we can see them for who they are. Again, they transform. They're like a chameleon. They can transform right in front of your face. And they're teaching it through these different, alternative lifestyle traditions now are becoming. And they use the entertainers. They use the mediums. They're doctors, they're lawyers, you know what I'm saying? They're witches, they're judges. The divinators among us. The sorcerers among us. The Jay-Z's amongst us. The Michael B. Jordans among us. The little nasty nice X's among us. The filthy Glorillas among us. With their wicked behavior. To push upon us that we don't need anything natural as it relates to Israel is concerned, according to the word. They teach just the opposite. And then they plant their heathens all among us. The actual seed of the fallen ones. To keep us calm, to monetize us. You know what I'm saying? To how you say, water us down when we get too hot. Because they bring their Benjamin Crumps, you know what I'm saying, and those devils, but they're right behind them. They're Black Lives Matter movements that don't look black to me, except for the figureheads. But I digress. Even in that movement, it came from both the people. Who started leading the movement? Think about it. Were the lesbians? Again, what did David say? Let's go there real quick. And this may go a little bit longer than I intended, brothers and sisters. And this I will say that maybe this becomes part of the study tomorrow night. The continuance of this and on beyond. We'll see. We'll trust Abba Yah and see what he tells us. But let's go to the book of Psalms. Because again, the writings are here for our education, for our teaching, for our learning. Because again, regardless of what we say, I know Israel can be as stubborn as a mule, as they say, as stubborn as an ass. They call him, sit your stubborn ass down. Hard-headedness. And because of we can be so stubborn and hard-hearted, then Yah typically leads us to our own devices, or to the devices of others, and then we somehow, over a period of time, think that it's the choices that we're making. Again, teaching is repeating to learning has occurred. So if they keep telling you, you need to do this, this is why, you need to, you this, and you, before you long, you'll be saying, yeah, you need this, and I need to do that, and this is why. Never realizing that wasn't the way you were thinking early on. You were programmed into thinking that. You were deceived, and then a spell was cast upon you. And I know you don't ain't nobody cast those spells on you. Brothers and sisters, we get spells cast on us all day long. All of us. Some of us just have the protection of the power of Abba Yah for those spells not to penetrate. Because see, we seal with his word, we're sealed with his truth. So when the lies come, we already know that. Hey, get out of here, that's a lie. I ain't buying that. That's why we came out of wicked idolatry and sorcery and Christianity and those other religions. That's why we came out, because we broke the spell. We became spell breakers. Because we went to the Tanakh and to the truth, and we were open to learn. And Yah revealed himself. More importantly, he revealed us to us. And then once he revealed us to us, then he was able to reveal himself to us. And that's a beautiful thing. I feel If nothing else in my life I was able to see or experience, this is probably in my heart, this is the most important part of it. More important than having children, more important than traveling the world, helping others, all those things were important. But the most important thing in my life is being able to discover who I am and who Abba Yah is to me or to us. Without question. There is no contest for the rest of those things. That's the value of it. But the enemy also understands that value, and they will do whatever they have to do to to disconnect us from that value by pushing wicked heathen doctrines and behaviors and lifestyles and customs as an alternative lifestyle. Because then it could be all about you, not all about your people. Although for them, it's all about their people. But not for Israel. For Israel, no, it's all about you. Like individual you. You do you. And they know when men think that way, they'll do anything that they can imagine in their hearts. The book of Judges talks about that. I think chapter 21, verse 23 and 24 says that because there was no leadership in the land, no teachers in the land, no elders in the land, everybody did, whatever, and everyone did what was in their own heart to do. And it caused division and divisiveness, and some of the most wicked things happened after that you can imagine, as is happening right now amongst Israel. Because we were taught not to be a nation, but to be individuals. And they gave us individuals to admire. Again, athletic, individuals, through the athletics, through the music, entertainment, through the movies, through the church. They gave us the T.I.E. Jakes and the Creflo Dollars and all of those characters. The Yolanda Adams, the Kurt Franklins. And then we started running around and jumping around. Before you knew it, we were in the church. We claimed that their heathen church became a nightclub. And today, I don't even want to say what I believe they all have become. Some might say I didn't. Houses of ill repute. Can I say it that way? Brother Adrian, that's a good word. Houses, their churches have become houses of ill repute. That's about the best I'll pat myself on the back for that one, because I had another word in mind. But he has a sense of humor, but he's deadly. Don't play with him. But look what it says in verse 83. For those of us who still think that somehow or another we're pushing hatred, or we're pushing exclusivism, or being just mean, or we're angry, or we're bitter, or we're twisting the words, they never come back to this. Because anytime anyone who would come to us and accuse us of that, brothers and sisters, if you're righteous, then you take them over to Psalms 83 and ask them to explain what this is. First, identify themselves. Say, identify yourself. Who are you? Because that's important. Because there are wolves among us in sheep's clothing. So your first question should be, identify yourself. And then when they identify themselves, then say, well, tell me, who does this apply to? This is how it reads. Keep not your silence, Elohim, and hold not your peace, and be not still or quiet. For lo, your enemies make a tumult, the enemies of Abba Yah, and they that hate you have lifted up the head, and they take crafty counsel against your people. Whose people? Abba Yah's people, Elohim's people. They take crafty counsel. Crafty counsel means they're going to come at you and say, oh, those guys are about hatred. Those guys, they're gonna put all these smooth words together, and that's what they're gonna come to you with, hoping that you're gullible, because you're an individual now. You're not a part of a nation, because they've already established that with you already. By telling you you don't need anybody. You got me or you got them. I got you. You're an American. That's what you are. You're not an Israelite. You're an American. You're a Christian. That's what you are. You're not an Israelite. See, separate, conquer, divide. Divide and conquer. Divide us, and then they can overwhelm us with their crafty words. Crafty counsel is just slick, smooth words that sounds innocent and sincere and so dedicated. And, I'm hurt. I'm just hurt that this is happening. Lying devil, no, you're not. You're caught. You're busted. The curtain was drawn back. We see you now. They put that curtain back. Put that curtain back. Like the Wizard of Oz. Remember little Oz? He was behind the thing. You familiar with that? Big voice saying all this stuff. And then when they pulled back the curtain, little midget back there. And when he saw him, he didn't know what to do. He started running around in a circle. Oh, I'm sorry. No. You misinterpreted me. No, they misinterpreted me. No. Smooth, crafty counsel. Against your people. And they have consulted against your hidden ones. And what the hidden ones is, Yah has separated us out from amongst the nations. Hidden ones mean that he has put a protective shield around some of us. Really, all of us. He had to hide us away from the heathen so they wouldn't destroy all of us. And then he put in some of us the wisdom to be able to sustain some of the worst atrocities known to mankind by the heathen, I might add. They the ones who did the atrocities. When I showed these pictures the other day from that book, that was them. This particular book here. It's here. And brothers and sisters, I already know this is running long, so I'm not going to keep you for 2 hours, praise Yahuwah. But when you come to this thing, you can come. I don't have to look for it. Again, these are their books, not mine. Look at these. Look at this kind of stuff. This is stuff this is what they do to Israel. This is what they were doing. And this was after the emancipation of the so-called Negro. This happened when we were supposed to be free in America, citizens in America. This is the same heathen talking about, oh no, they just hateful. I don't know what's wrong with your brother. They just bitter. They just bitter. They're angry. I don't even know what to say about them. I love them. They just don't love me. Look at that. See that? And then look who's down there. Like anybody sad or unhappy or feeling some kind of conscious way about what's going on? Conviction? I think we can do at least one more. You notice he's naked. What happened to his clothes? Were they cutting off his body parts as they would do to us? And this is for you Israelites who want to say that we're the ones that is misrepresenting things or what's the word? Distorting the truth. So we call that behavior out from their recent ancestors, their recent, if not current ancestors. Emmett Till was, the same thing happened to Emmett Till in 1955. Now, if you're 30, let's just say if you're 40 years old, it's a good possibility your mother and father was here during the time that they were still doing that to our people. And somehow they have convinced you through their lies and deception that was a long time ago. A long, long time ago. Why? Because they're crafty. They have perfected the art of deception. Transformers. The alien or the seed thereof. But see, the church don't want me to tell it. The businesses definitely don't want me to tell it. Many of your friends don't want me to tell it, and the heathens hate me for telling it. But I'm going to tell you. Because Yah told me to tell you. He woke me up early this morning and said, you know, go tell my people to prepare themselves. Go tell my people that the end is near. Go tell my people to understand, you know, what are these aliens that are coming? What are they going to look like when they get here? Go tell my people that many of them have been here. They never died. The flood didn't take them all away. If you know the book, 10% of them were left. Enoch talks about it. Other places talk about it too. Go tell my people it's time for them to come out and separate themselves. Come back to their own kind. Go tell my people that there's a natural usage that I put them here for. And anything that tries to upset that or go against that is an abomination before me. But let me go a little bit farther. Verse 4. And Psalms 83 verse 4. And they said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation. Cut them off from being a nation means to destroy them. So the name of Israel be no more in remembrance. Don't let them even talk about these pictures that I just showed you. You know, the whole thing, get rid of critical race theory. Just not teach that anymore. Let's just pretend like that nothing ever happened. Let's take down all these statues and all these monuments that were representation of our, tyranny over them, who we celebrated, the leaders of those who were performing terror or legalizing terror over them. Let's remove all of that so they don't know about it. That's crafty counsel. So we remove all the monuments that show that we were there and these were our heroes who were doing what you just saw in those pictures to them. And we take it out of the schools and we tell them that, you know what, it really doesn't matter. The heathen and y'all fit together like a glove. And daughters of Zion, you don't need Israelite men anymore. Just go get you heathens men. You good. And men of Zion, you don't need, a woman. You good, Hey, it only takes a few minutes, right, to please your physical body sexually. So you ain't got to go through all of that. And all of it sounds good. We're sweet as butter. Smooth as butter. It sounds good. But that's just crafty counsel, brothers and sisters. These heathens so wicked, like I said before, they struggle just to say that a mass murderer, again, I might add, who was born a male, they refused to identify him that way. They kept saying, she, a woman, a woman, a woman. And right now, you got people right now who are going to still say woman instead of a man. Right this second, they're going to say woman. And if you say to them, that was a male, born a male, they're going to go in on you. And what you do to you to tell them, get the hell out of my face before I try to knock your nose into yesterday. Before I knock your nose into the back of your neck. You better get out of my face. Don't touch them, because then they'll throw you in their like heathen, prisons. But I will sure make it clear to him that you better get away from me with that foolishness. You'll hear it today. You'll hear it. Depending on where you are. All of us won't. If you listen to this, you're hearing it now. Verse 5, for they have consulted together with one consent. So when they say they have consulted together, my brothers and sisters, with one consent, that means there's nobody disagreeing with them. And I know someone would say, no, that's not me. That's not what the word says. So So you want me to take your word for it, not the word of the book. You want me to take your word, but not our Yah's word, is what you're telling me. So you're still trying to be a deceiver. Because according to the book, you all would be, I'm talking about these heathens, would be a one consent. And that one consent, that they are confederate, means unified against us, against Israel. Just read it. And yet you got Israel, men and women out here saying, oh no, Yah loves everybody. So what y'all gonna do, just tear this page out your book then? Those of you who believe that, y'all just gonna tear that out and pretend like you don't see it? You don't see the elephant in the room? Are you that afraid of them? Your enemies, our natural enemies, are that important to you that you won't tell them the truth? You're afraid. Not only will you not tell them the truth, you will tell them lies or go along with their lies. Again, I didn't take the pictures, and I damn sure wasn't a part of the atrocities. We were the victims. That's our ancestors there, Israel. They did it. But you know how the book says they do wickedness and find themselves not guilty. They never take responsibility for anything. It's always somebody else's fault. That's how you know who they are. And quick to project that upon somebody else. The thief calling the crook a liar. But if you go back, you know, brothers and sisters, I think I just got my answer. I guess it came back down to, you know, we saw it already. We saw it in, you know, reestablishing the truth in the book of Joshua. We saw it again, you know, in, you know, Jeremiah chapter 10. I guess we might as well go there. And I know we just went there recently, but again, teachers repeating, the learning has occurred, right? Teacher, put the word on the doorpost. We should never be ashamed of going back with our family and going over the book over and over. People, I read the Bible before. I would have read it one time. Brothers and sisters, you should be in the word all the time. All the time. This should be a part of your daily lifestyle, studying Abiyah's word. You know, I received a letter from Sister Kalada Smith. You know, and, you know, dear sister was saying, you know, Brother DFG, I just want you to know I'm studying the Tanakh, and I'm studying it, and I'm stone serious, and I read it, and I'm reading it twice a day, in the morning and at night, I think she said. You know, I know she said twice a day, probably reading it more than that. And I'm telling you, brothers, I am learning, I'm storing, I'm getting myself prepared. And I'm going to tell you one thing, brother, I'm going to stand there with you as long as you stand for Abiyah. I'm standing with you, and I ain't going nowhere. What a proclamation of faith. That sister not thinking about being an individualist. That sister talking about being a part of a nation. Shouldn't say that sister, our sister, my sister. And I didn't get permission to say it, and I guess going forward I'll start getting your permission if I can bring out things that you say that encourage your brother. You know, so I was, you know, if you don't want me to share, you know, your beautiful testimonies, then always put in a little note or something, say, but just don't share it. I will never go into your personal stuff. I will never be disrespectful, you know, and your brother has enough prudence to understand what is acceptable, you know, sharing and not. And plus, I'm not a talebearer or a gossiper. But when it's a beautiful testament, and, you know, and you send it, or I see it in the comments, and I'm just letting you know, I hope I have your permission to share it, because we need to hear, others need to hear you too, not just your brother. And I've always been a person that you share the praise. How you say, scold in private, praise in public. That's old business, you know, best practice. With Jeremiah chapter 10, it reads, and I know you've heard it before, brothers and sisters, but I'm going to reinforce, again, teaching is repeating. It says, hear the word which Yahuwah speaks unto you, O Israel. And again, we always have to stop, because they will tell you he's talking to everybody. It's for everybody. The Tanakh is for everybody. That's not what this just said. It says, O Israel, only Israel. O means you, Israel. Hear the word which Yahuwah speaks unto you, singularly you, Israel, or the house of Israel, meaning the tribes, all 12. This says Yahuwah, learn not the way of the heathen. So who's pushing all these agendas out there? Who's teaching these? Who's coming up with the curriculum to push these agendas out there? Who's the hidden hand in all of these things out there? We know who it is. We all know it. It's not Israel. We do know that. Oh, we're the puppets, many of our people. Useless idiots pushing the heathen's agenda against their own kind. Useless idiots that allow themselves to sell out for silver and gold. Or fame or fortune. Power and prestige. They're no different than Balaam. They got with the enemy of the people, and what Yah told them not to do, they went right around what Yah told them to do and went right to the heathen and said, well, if the price is right, I'll do anything. Al Sharpton, ring a bell? African nation, y'all know about your leaders who've been selling out since the beginning of time for money to the West and other nations, China, Russia. You know about them. Nothing new under the sun. But this I'll say to my brothers and sisters in Israel. You know, it's time for us to take heed, for us to wake up and understand, you know, what's going on around us. We were told here. And again, you know, we taught a lesson here a while back. Maybe I could shortcut this real quick, brothers and sisters. I'm going to be reading from the beginning of Joshua chapter 23. Let me skip down a little bit. And let's go over here to verse 23, chapter 23. Let's start reading at verse 14. And then we'll stop, Yah willing, within the next few minutes, okay? The book of Joshua, chapter 23. And again, keep in mind everything that I've said, brothers and sisters, about how the enemy transforms himself. And when they transform it, what do you say transformation means again? It makes a thorough, dramatic change in either their form, that's their appearance. I mean, the form, that means their how they doing something, or stop not doing something. Or it could be altering their bodies, their behavior, or appearance, character, again, behavior. I guess if you look at it, what is that? Inform means they transform themselves into something else. Appearance, they make what they transform themselves look friendly. And character means they don't have any. They just have an abominable, diabolical intent, but they try to disguise it in inclusivism. We're all the same. It's all about love. It's the past. Y'all need to let the past go. They're teaching hate. You know, in other words, they start to assault the character of the righteous so that they can promote their own wicked agenda under the guise of human values, liberal values. We all the same, knowing they have never behaved in a manner towards Israel that they saw themselves, or saw us equal to themselves. The lies they tell for the things they want to get. Or possess, or control, or influence, or destroy. Let's not forget those adjectives. But he goes on to say, verse 14, in the morning, Sarah selected a very fine and beautiful garment from those garments which she had in her house. And Amalek, in a house that Amalek had given to her. Amalek was the wicked king who tried to steal, an Israelite woman. And Yah made him give her back. And she dressed Isaac, her son, therewith. And she put a turban upon his head. For those of you talking about the caps and hats. Get out of here with that. You're in Christianity with that foolishness. Where is it in the Tanakh Torah where it says that our heads have to be covered if we're bringing forth the word? Where did you read that at? Christians, but non-Christians you are. And she dressed Isaac, her son, therewith, and she put a turban upon his head, and she enclosed a precious stone in the top of the turban, and she gave them provision for the road, and they went forth. And Isaac went with his father Abraham, and some of their servants accompanied them to see them off the road. And Sarah went out with them, and she accompanied them, she went along with them upon the road to see them off. And they said to her, return to the tent. And when Sarah heard the words that her son Isaac, when she heard the words of her son Isaac, she wept bitterly. And Abraham, her man, wept with her. And her son wept. And with them was a great weeping. Also those who went with them wept greatly. And Sarah caught hold to her son Isaac, and he held her arm, and she embraced him and continued to weep with him. And Sarah said, who knows if this day I shall ever see you again? Now that's a profound statement in and of itself, brothers and sisters. And that's why we should always walk, in a mindset of honor and respect and love for those who we appreciate. Because we never know if it's the last time. And surely, some point, it will be the last time for many of us to see someone that we love. But when we walk around, in bitterness and divisiveness against our own brothers, because I'm talking about Israel, I'm not talking about loving and caring not about no heathens. The idea of love is not the idea that you have of love. Remember, you're spiritual beings, they're carnal beings. They can't relate to that no matter how hard they try. They can just conform. We hope they conform and not transform. Conforming, learning the ways of our Abba Yah and submitting themselves to the people of Abba Yah. With the hope that in the next life to come, they will be spared the lake of fire. The best they're going to get. And we shouldn't be trying to make it any better for them. That's not our responsibility. That's their responsibility. We have a poor man's mentality. Always picking up trash. Trying to find value in it. Not talking about cleanliness. It's trash for a reason. Called them a heathen for a reason. Then they wept together, Abraham, Sarah, and Isaac, and all those that accompanied them on the road wept with them. And Sarah afterwards turned away from her son, weeping bitterly, and all the men servant and maidservants returned with her to the tent. Verse 20. And Abraham went to Isaac his son to bring him up an offering before Yahuwah, because Yahuwah had told him, I want Abraham as my offering. He was trying to see what Abraham's heart was. Did he love his family? Did he love his children more than he loved his own soul? Did he love his family and his children more than he loved Abba Yah's commandments? Say it even better. And there are many of our people say, I love Abba Yah, but you don't keep his commandments. And the first thing, well, nobody does. That's not the question. The question is, do you love Abba Yah and will you obey his commandments? Why are you working around looking for other, what would you call them? Outliers? Why are you non-compliers? That's the way you're going to comply. That's the way you're going to be obedient to Abba Yah, by telling him, well, the rest of them didn't do it, so. And Abba Yah going to look right at you and say, well, you're going to go right where they're going. If that's your mindset. That was for somebody. And that's a token of love, what I said. It's not a token of hatred. And Abraham went with Isaac to bring his son up as an offering before Abba Yah as he had commanded him. And Abraham took two of his young men with him, Ishmael the son of Hagar, and Eliezer his servant. And they went together with them. And while they were walking on the road, the young men spoke these words to themselves. And Ishmael said unto Eliezer, my father Abraham is going with Isaac to bring him up for a burnt offering to Yahuwah, as he commanded him. So Abraham wasn't keeping this secret from them, what his plan or what his agenda. Just like we shouldn't hide from people who we are and what our plans are in regards to Abba Yah's commandments. In regards to his commandments, keeping his commandments. Verse 23. And now when he returns, he will give unto me all that he possesses to inherit after him, for I am his firstborn. Now this is Ishmael, because Ishmael not even looking at it with any kind of compassion. He's just looking at it saying, man, if Isaac gone, I'm next in line. That's selfish. And we see our people doing that again. That kind of selfish behavior is always about undermining each other. Envy, jealousy is the right word. Our men are jealous of one another. Our sisters are jealous of one of each other. And then the men and women are jealous of each other. Brothers and sisters, with this mentality, we don't stand a chance. You talking about conquer and divide? Not only are they going to conquer, they've already conquered and divided, but they are planning to destroy. What's coming real soon? They're not going to, pass by your house and say, oh, not them. Those are the Israelites. Those are the so-called blacks. Let's not bother them. They're no threat to anybody. They don't, they're no harm. And if you believe that lie, then you believe anything. No, your house is going to be the first house they stop by. Or apartment or wherever you are, tent. While we need, again, come out and learn how to be a collective people. To the individualists. And you can tell who they are because as soon as, one of us fall asleep, the rest of them ready to jump and replace us. That's how you know if they're part of a team versus self. They're part of a team, they reach down and they help you up when you fall. They don't walk over you or pray for your demise. They teach our people that in all these wicked entertainment industries, think about it. Who's going to be the next LeBron James? Who's going to be the next Serena Williams? Think about it all the time. Who's going to be the next Tiger Woods? The next Denzel Washington? Think about it all the time with their wicked foolishness. The next Oprah Winfrey. And then they got them all down like crabs in a barrel, fighting, to take the spot. Instead of step back and say, well, why do I have to be the next anybody? Why can't there be 2 of us, or 3 of us, or 100 of us, or 1,000 of us? Why it's always got to be the next one? The next Michael Jordan, the next Kobe Bryant. Because it's all about teaching us selfishness. But when they talk about themselves, you notice one of the things you never hear them say, the next Joe Biden, the next Bill Clinton, the next Donald Trump, the next Elon Musk. You never hear him say this. The next Warren Buffett. You don't hear him saying that. Because what they in their idea, they want many Warren Buffetts and many Donald Trumps or Bill Clintons or Joe Biden or whomever it might be. They only push that to our people. This secular mentality that is, that if you want to help your people, you gotta leave them behind and you got to shine bright so that they can have hope. Don't help them though. Just shine bright so they can have hope, but don't you dare help them. Don't you reinvest in their community. Don't you dare do a Little Wayne, a Little Devil, whatever, Troll. Don't you dare do that, Usher, Chris Brown, Chance the Rapper. Don't you dare. What's your problem? No, you toe the line, Kanye. Or else we'll destroy you. Oh, Master, okay, Master. You're going to whoop me. Master, I'm going to be a good Negro. Put that dress on, boy. And you take them braids out your hair, woman. That's them. Yes, sir. But Eliezer sitting Ishmael right over there stood him praying for his brother. He's waiting for his brother to die. So he could be the next Isaac. And brothers and sisters, whatever exists among us, stop that. Just stop it. Stop letting them use that kind of propaganda. That's a divide and conquer mentality. For them, all of their children should go to college and get degrees and have great jobs and great homes. And for us, we need just one make it. If one make it, that means another one can make it. And if two make it, then that means four can make it. Pitiful, pitiful, pitiful mindsets. But that's what we get taught. Even the teachers teach it. Well, your son is exceptional. Your daughter is exceptional. She has a lot of potential. But if you really want her to be better, you may have to reconsider where y'all live. You may have to reconsider, taking him out of, these public schools and putting him in a private elite school. Well, who's going to be over there? Oh, a bunch of white kids. How he's going to continue to know about his... Well, that's not really that important. He'll get a great education. And, with his talent or her talent, she can become very, very wealthy. Isn't that what you want? Well, yeah, that sounds good. Okay. Let's not have no more of this people talk. Let's not be talking about your people anymore. Let's put that behind you, okay? That's not up to you. Not your fault. Not your responsibility to save the world. Lies, lies, and lies. It is our responsibility to be there for our people. It is our responsibility to stay among our people to the best that we can. And what I mean, I'm not necessarily talking about where you live. I'm talking about how you think, how you behave, how you interact, how you assist and support. Where you live has nothing to do with it at the end of the day. Not in terms of your heart for your people. This is the mindset that you see in here between Ishmael and Isaac. Replacement theology. Like they tried to do with that wicked fake New Testament book to replace the Tanakh. Then Eliezer jumped into it. And then Eliezer answered Ishmael and said, surely Abraham did cast you away with your mother. Now you're bringing up the past. Look how wicked these... now Eliezer, for the most part, was a good manservant, but he had his own little selfishness too. He was a heathen, the stranger who dwells among us. And look what he's over there talking about. Well, you must be forgetting that time when your dad kicked your mama out the house and you with her. But doesn't it take the heathen to bring up our past but never want to remember theirs? Just like the heathens. It sounds like Uncle Ruckus in Boondocks. White people poop is like gold bars. I don't know why, but okay. I don't know, I guess it applied somewhere. How I don't know what brought it, why it came to my mind, but it did. I said it. But I always wanted to bring up our past and not deal with their past. That's what the relativeness of that statement was. They can do no wrong, but any wrong we do, you better believe everybody's going to know about it. Hallelujah. Surely did Abraham cast your mammy away with you, and swear that you should not inherit anything of all he possesses. And to whom will he give all that he has with all of his treasures, but unto me his servant? And see, that's the selfishness, of the stranger who gets to dwell among us. Because they think they're entitled to have our possessions. And they're not. But it's their arrogance. And create the right situation and it'll come out. You'll see exactly who they are. And here it is, this stranger thinking he has the same right of the sons of Abraham. And had the audacity to insult one of them. And then he goes to talk about how good he was to Abraham. Check this out, brothers and sisters. Verse 24. And swear that he should not inherit anything of all his possession. And to whom will he give all that he has with all of his treasures? But unto me, his servant, who has been faithful in his house, and who have served him night and day, and has done all that he has desired of me. Because see, they're quick to remind us of anything they do for us. They're quick to bring it up. Talking about the stranger, the alien. See, we think they're dwelling among us out of love. No, they're dwelling among us out of some unspoken desire. Or spoken. Depends on how transparent they are, and that's not very. But this is what the heathen is saying to in front of Ishmael. And I said, just flat out saying, he doesn't care. Careless, reckless. Because he's trying to create division. Because he's trying to replace them, steal their inheritance. Which sounds pretty much like the way they are today. And he has done all, and I have done all that he has desired of me. Or have I not done all that he desired of me? To me will he bequeath at his death all that he possesses. Boy, I tell you what, I bet you can go back and talk to some of our ancestors who lost land and stuff to these heathens, stole their deeds, pausing their cattle so they could not farm their land, and then, because them to default on banks, working with bankers to steal their land, steal their inheritance. Whew. Brothers and sisters, if we only knew. I forgot the number that I read something around the early 1900s. I think they were saying that how many acres of land that we own. I don't know if it was, I think it was well over 200 million acres. If one of y'all know, put it in the comments. I think it was over 200 million acres. And I think the number right now is somewhere like 2-3 million. What happened to all that land? Who possesses that land? Why don't we still have that land? Because they conspired against us with crafty counsel to steal it and take it away. Because unfortunately we trusted them with loans, or trusted them, with covenants and making deals with them, signing papers with them and trusting that they would be honorable, and they don't have no honor in them. There's no honor amongst thieves. And while Abraham was yet proceeding with his son, verse 25, Isaac along the road, and here's where I want to get to. This is going to be a good place to close. In verse 25, and Abraham was proceeding with his son Isaac along the road, and Satan came and appeared to Abraham in the figure of a very old man. He transformed himself. Humble and of a contrite spirit. Now, we got to talk about this for a moment. Now, this is an older man. He's got a good spirit. He's humble. He's an older man. He's got a good spirit, and he's humble. Again, he's an older man. He's got a good spirit, but Satan has no spirit. And he's humble. Right? Make sure I didn't add anything to it. The demon is a spirit, I guess in that way. A very aged man, humble and of a good spirit or a good disposition. Friendly. Almost too friendly. And he appeared and he approached Abraham and he said to him, are you silly or brute, or are you a brute that you go and do this thing this day to your child? to this Israelite, well, not Israel, it would have been an Israelite, but to your child, Hebrew. You see how Satan will always come and try to cut off Abba Yah's purpose. Think about where we began. This whole transformation. So this is the bookend to it. This whole whatever this trans stuff is. What is it about at the end of the day? It's all about stopping the will and the purpose of Abba Yah for Israel. Because see, look how Abraham handles this situation. For Elohim gave you a son in your latter days in your old age. Now this is Satan talking. See how smooth, remember his words are smooth as butter. You know, smooth as oil. Her words, his words, they can be that way, just so we know. And they look like a human being. Verse 26 again. For Elohim gave you a son in your latter days, in your old age. And you will go and slaughter him this day because he committed no violence. And you will cause the soul of your child to perish from the earth. You see how he can reason? The word is smooth as butter. That's why we should not be listening to these heathens. We should be learning their ways. Because their ways are always going to go against Abba Yah's ways. And they're clever enough to twist the words to make it appear as though Abba Yah is in transgression, not them. They're clever enough to make it seem as Abba Yah people are in transgression, not the church. They're clever in that way. And when you hear them talking, you just need to know who you're listening to, brothers and sisters. Because again, we've been deceived that the devil is some big red man, 7 feet tall with horns on his head, a pitchfork, and a tail. That's not the description I read. I want to see the description again. Can we go back over one more time? I want to see how Satan can look. And Satan came and appeared, showed himself to Abraham in the figure. Remember we talked about what transformation was. What? A dramatic change in form, appearance, or character. So when all this this and that, transformation, just to let you know, it's Satan pushing it. Tie back up, including the transgender woman. It's all Satan's work. And Israel, if you're embracing it, I'm just letting you know what you're embracing. There will be consequences for it. And no one else is going to tell you. Let the word tell you. But he said he appeared, right? Transformation. He appeared in the figure of a very aged man. So I guess when I say very aged, probably a man in 70, maybe 80s. Humble, with a sweet spirit. Contrite. Another word. Look up the word contrite. It means, almost in terms of humble, forgiving, loving. Contrite. It's almost as though sorrowful, or repentant, contrite, no threat. But then he was Satan at the same time. And he said and Abraham said unto him, praise Yahuwah. I got that twisted. See, Yah knows what he's doing. And Abraham said unto him, are you a silly or you're brutish that you would go and do this thing this day to your child? And Abraham said to him, are you silly or brutish that you would go and do this thing to your child? All right. different when it's on a different page. Let me correct myself, because I was right the first time. And he approached Abraham and said to him, are you silly or brutish that you go and do this thing to your child? Always causing us to question Abba Yah's word. For Elohim gave you your son in your latter days and in your old age, that you will go and you will slaughter him this day, because he committed no violence, and you will cause the soul of your child to perish from the earth? Do you not know and understand that this thing cannot be from Yahuwah? You see how they talk, brothers and sisters? You see how they talk? Now I'm going to go through this one more time. All right, I'm going to read 25 and 26. And this is what I'm asking of you, brothers. I want you to listen. Listen in on this conversation now. All right, just if you're looking at the camera, turn the other way. Whatever you got to do, you don't have to turn the other way. But I want you to focus and just listen to what I'm about to read. And this is Satan talking to Abraham with his humble, beautiful spirit, right? Elderly man, right? This humble man. Watch how this humble man gets to start talking when he's trying to deter Abraham from keeping Abba Yah's law, statutes, and commandments. Okay. Verse 25. And Abraham was proceeding with his son Isaac along the road, and Satan came and appeared to Abraham in the figure of a very aged man, humble and of a wonderful spirit. And he approached Abraham and said unto him, are you silly or brutish that you would do this thing this day to your child, your son? For Elohim gave you a son in your latter days, in your old age, and you will go and slaughter him this day, because he committed no violence, and you will cause the soul of your child to perish from the earth. Listen at that, brothers and sisters. And you tell me you can deal with this without knowing Yah's word, law, statutes, and commandments, that this is going to sound like what we think Satan would sound like. But the problem is that's what we think. But see, if we were in the book and studying the word, we would know how he sounds. And anyone that would tell us to go against the law, statutes, and commandments of Abba Yah, we would know it's Satan the moment they say it. It's why, when Samuel was talking to Saul, he said, you're talking about the outer appearance, but man look at the outer appearance. Abba Yah is looking at the heart. He's looking at the inner man, their behavior. What's coming out of their mouth? What are they saying? What are they doing? And we ain't get caught up in, they do a lot of good things. Hey, we just heard Eliezer talk about all the good things he was doing, and he was heathen trying to steal the birthright from Ishmael. Trying to take something that wasn't his to take. He was not entitled to the inheritance. He was a stranger. But he gotten so close that he thought he could replace Abba Yah gifts. And that's the danger of letting them get too close, I might add. I said too close. Didn't say they could operate around the borders, but they should never have influence. Verse 27. Do you not know and understand that this thing cannot be from Yahuwah? And we know it was from Yahuwah what he told Abraham to do. And here this damn devil sitting there telling this man it wasn't. When we're telling our brothers and sisters to come out of Christianity because these devils had told them that, that Christianity was the way to salvation for them. And we're showing them in the Torah, in the Tanakh, that it's the wrong way, that we only have one Savior, Yahuwah. And what are they doing? Telling us, oh, no, that's not what he said. And here it is, we're showing it to them right here in the book. So the one who's in their head talking to them, it's not Abba Yah. It's not Yahuwah. Even though they believe that, at least they want to believe that who it is, but Abba Yahuwah would never go against his own self. He doesn't change. Yahuwah does not change. And this man, oh, do you know this is this man talking now, pastor? Do you know not and understand that this thing cannot be from Yahuwah? Yahuwah wants you to stay in the New Testament, brother. Yahuwah, you shouldn't be reading them books, brother, son, or daughter. You shouldn't be reading them books. Doesn't that sound just like them? Do you not know and understand this thing cannot be from Yahuwah? Because they said so. That's why they're saying it. And Yahuwah cannot do unto a man such an evil upon this earth to say to him, go slaughter your child. And Abraham heard this and knew that it was the word of Satan, who endeavored him to draw him aside from the way of Yahuwah. But Abraham would not hearken to the voice of Satan. And Abraham rebuked him, so he went away. See, this is the mind we all need to have. When anyone comes to us and tells us they're going against the Tanakh or going against the Torah, we should tell them, get away from me, you devil. See, that's what Abraham said. He said, you're trying to take me off of Yah's plan. You're trying to get me to be in violation. In other words, you're trying to get my soul destroyed in hell, man. Get away from me with that foolishness. See, they don't want us to know this. This is why this stuff is hidden from us, brothers. And they sure don't want you to be taught, brothers and sisters. Because, see, when you get strong, you're going to teach others, and they know it. Smite the shepherd, and the sheep will scatter. Shut off the DFGs, and you don't have to worry about nobody else seeing it. Just unsubscribe, block, whatever you got to do. And then you can listen to all these other heathens tell you what you want to hear. And all I'm going to go against the Tanakh and the Torah, because I'm going with the Tanakh and the Torah. So if you're shutting off, individuals like myself, then that means you're embracing individuals like themselves. Because when we're gone, that's all that's going to be left anyway. And surely we're going to be gone. Amos warned us, there will be a time that there will be a famine of the word of Abba Yah. Because Abba Yah will be judging the nations. So whether he, takes us out of here alive or he takes us out of here, through that. But we're going to be gone at some point. But not before Yah's will is done. So don't go nowhere, brothers and sisters. Stand strong. Like Sister Kalata. I'm with you to the end, my brothers. Don't go nowhere. Surely, I'm telling you, don't go anywhere. Because I'm not going to go anywhere. They're going to have to carry me out. And Abraham, I got to go to 28 one more time. Abraham heard this, and he knew it was the word of Satan to trick him, to draw him aside from the way of Yahuwah. But Abraham would not listen to the voice of Satan. And brothers and sisters, we just need to get there and get there fast. Quit listening to the voice of these Satans out here, pushing these agendas out here. Learn not the ways of the heathen. Here it is right here again. Learn not the ways of the heathen. Do not listen to Satans. Same thing, same statement. Worded differently, same meaning. Abba Yah never changes. That's how we know he's Yah. Their gods come and go like a chameleon. They can do anything under their gods because according to them, their gods have died for their sins. And as long as they give a sacrifice, they can do whatever the hell they want to do. Because their God is not Abba Yah. Abba Yah has a standard. And inside that standard, he said the wages of sin is death. That's the price you get for wickedness, disobedience, rebellion. That's his word. But they don't want to tell you, oh no, the gift of Jesus, you're gonna have everlasting life. JC is the way, JC is the way. Oh, not the white one, the black one. Get out of here with that silliness. Y'all making them up now. Y'all done made them up. Y'all done made one up, made a new one up. When anybody come talking about the black one, not the white one, they made that up. There was no black one like they talking about. The one that is the one that was. They are making that up, brothers and sisters. They have made it up. They pulled it out of their rectum. I'm talking about the one they claim died for their sins. That one. Be clear here. You're going to die for your own sins. All of us. If there's sin in us. There isn't. There's a great reward awaiting you. Everybody is... Look. Okay. Just get away from us with that stuff. I told you, this is not the place for you. We know how to get on our knees and repent when we do something wrong. And Abba Yah will hear us if we repent. But when we get up, we don't use Abba Yah as a crutch to keep on sinning. When we get up with a mind to not do it again. Understanding that there's consequences for that behavior. Your gods tell you there is no consequence for it because he paid the price for it. That's not what Abba Yah tells us. So it's not... Don't conflate us with your mess. It's a huge difference between Abba Yah, redeeming us versus your gods forgiving you. Are their gods forgiving them? Say that right. But see, Satan is very cunning and very slick. Because look what Satan did right after. You think Satan would have went on about his business and left him alone. Then Satan returned, he came to Isaac. And he appeared to Isaac in the figure of a young man. Handsome. And influential. These are your entertainers, your athletes, your models, your actors. You think you're looking at, talent, and you're really looking at Satan. And remember, Satan is a plural, many of them. And he approached Isaac and said to him, do you not know and understand that your old silly father brings you to the slaughter this day for nothing? He said, he called him disrespected man again. The Satans of the world, they're going to always insult Israel. They think they can say anything they want to say to us with no consequences. All they got to come back and say, oh, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said that. I'll be damned. I don't give a damn about your sorry. Like I was in a good conversation yesterday with a sister. She said, no, once you put that word out there, that word stays out there. That word is alive and not going to forget what you said. She said her grandmother told her that. And that's something she took away. Praise Yah for that. So she said that no, the grandmother said, when that word comes out, you better remember what they said. And no, they can't take it back. I'm talking about the heathens. Israel, we say something and it's out of order and you repent of it yourself and you go before Abba Yah and ask, for his restoration and redemption. And as long as you don't do it again, then there's grace for you. Solomon told us, my people who are called by my name, if they're my people, Israel, Yahuwah, read it for yourself, 2 Chronicles chapter 7. But he says, Yahuwah says, my people who are called by my name, Israel, if they would humble themselves and pray and turn from their wicked ways, then will I hear them from heaven, and then I, Abba Yah, Yahuwah, will forgive their sins, and I would restore them. But that's for Israel, not the heathen. And it says just like that, my people who are called by my name, if those people humble themselves and pray and turn from their wicked ways, then I will hear them from heaven. And then I will forgive their sins. And then I will heal or restore them. But see, they want to conflate this for everybody. That's the lies your mama and daddy want to tell. That's not Yah's word. That's your preacher talking to you. Better get in that book. But insulted the man, said his daddy was silly. Verse 31. Now therefore, my son, do not listen. See how they come in? I'm your real brother. I'm the one who really cares about you. That's... Boy, talking about snakes and serpents. His words are smooth as butter, but they had their swords drawn. Read that. Psalm 55:21, there and about. Always going to have these smooth sounding words. But what he said? They transform. He transformed himself. And what they say? What does transform means? Dramatic change in form, appearance, or character. A change in it doesn't mean that is, in other words, they're like a chameleon. They're transforming themselves into something that they're not. And then trying to sell it off as though they are what it is they transform themselves into. Nothing new under the sun. I think I just connected it all for everybody. But let's read a little bit more and then we're done. Verse 30, again. And he approached Isaac and said to him, do you not know and understand that your old silly father brings you to the slaughter on this day for without a purpose? Now therefore, my son, now he's claiming to be a father figure to Isaac. Role model. Man. Do not listen nor attend to him. So telling him not to honor his mother and father, and that is the commandment. Honor thy mother and thy father all the days of your life, that you might have a long life and that you might prosper. Here this devil telling this man to go against the commandments. Don't listen to him when the book says you ought to honor them. Now therefore, my son, do not listen or attend to him, for he is a silly old man, and let not your precious soul and your beautiful figure be lost from this earth. See, the separation, the individualism, they never change. And that's what they're pushing to our people. You don't need a man. You don't need a woman. Go somewhere else to get a better kind of man or a better kind of woman so you can level up. But in all their leveling up, they're just going to fall down. They're going to fall. Babylon is falling. And any of our people who line themselves up with that Babylon mentality, mindset, you're going to fall right along with them. To be exact, 2/3. In America, that might be 7/8. It says 2/3 of Israel. So there could be other tribes and other places, where none of them are buying into this foolishness. So for them, it may not be 2/3. Maybe 90% of them are going to get in. But maybe in here in Judah, maybe it's only going to be 2/10. Who's to say? 1/4. But I know the way we're moving as Israel in these United States, I don't see a whole lot of Israelites that are embracing the truth. Because that's what we're teaching. We're teaching out of the book. And the minute we start teaching, they despise us. They separate. They run away from us. So how could they be 1/3? No way. We can all count. There's 30 million, 40 million. If you take the Spanish ones who are really black, don't know that Israelites of Judah, the Puerto Rican Judah who think they're from Puerto Rico, and somehow or another that's a ethnic group, whatever, naming themselves after a landmass instead of their father or forefathers. But if you count them, you may be talking 45 million. Now you do, 1/3 of 45 million, you're going to be somewhere about 15 million, give or take. Y'all see 15 million people believe in this truth that we're teaching? Because I don't. 15 million? Most of our people still stuck in Islam, Christianity, yoga, which is Hinduism, and all these other isms. They're not keeping the Torah, not teaching the Torah. They're surely not coming out and being drawn to those of us who are. So surely it's not 2/3 here in America. Because again, you're talking about something like 15 million people. 1/3. I'm sorry. So there may be way more than 2/3 in America who are going to be destroyed. I'm talking about, along with the heathens. So I say that to you so you stay encouraged, brothers and sisters, so you don't sit around looking around and say, well, when they coming? When they coming? They're not coming. They're not coming. They love the things of this world. They love the heathen ways too much. They're waiting for Easter now. They're about to go buy their new Easter outfit. They're going to buy their rabbits and their eggs, the Easter eggs. They're already planning their sunrise service or whatever they're doing over there. The heathen ways. They're not coming out of that. At least not today. But by chance, some of them do. That's why we're here. To be a light so they can find their way out of there. Coming out of the deep darkness into the bright light of Abba Yah. But again, you see Satan change. This time Satan made himself young, bold, and handsome. And told this man, disrespect your elders. But he told him, disrespect your elders. They're old heads. You don't need to hear them. They're fools. That's like the wicked demon, hidden devils, like so-called, what do they call his name? The Professor Black Truth and TBA or whatever it is, TBA or whatever they call it. Listen to them idiots. They're sitting over there talking about, just the most wicked folly, silliness known to mankind. And I'm almost ashamed. I used to listen to them idiots too. Repeating the same thing, just crafty, coming up lie after lie. Don't go over there and listen to them. But I'm just telling those are demon, wicked agents of chaos. They don't lead everybody over. If all people are following them, if you're following those guys, TBA and all, I'm telling you, brothers, so you better cut that mess off. You might as well be, you're listening to the devil. You're listening to the Satans. Go back and look at what they're talking about. The things that are heathens. I think I saw on the other day talking about what that Jonathan, whatever his name is, the whatever thing he is, the one that, because he showed dressed like he a thing. Can't think of his name right now, but the one who played in Creed. They're over there talking about them. What the heck they got? This world is about to be destroyed. And these idiots over there telling you about entertainment. And all people are right over there. Yeah, you right, Jason. You right, Professor Black Truth. Anyway, dude, at the end of the day, it's up to everybody. If you're going to do your own thing, then I guess you're going over there. But if you're Israel, you're going to come with your people. And you're going to stop being an individualist and be a part of a family. A nation. Yah's nation. Verse 32. And Isaac heard this and said to Abraham, have you heard, my father, that which this man has spoken? And Abraham answered his son Isaac and said to him, take heed of him and do not listen to his words, nor attend to them, for he is Satan, and he endeavors to draw us aside from this day from the commandments of Elohim. And young men, adult, that's why you need your fathers. I'm talking about fathers who obey the law, statutes, and commandments. And if you don't have a natural father, if you're Israel, we're your fathers anyway. We're your forefathers. So if you're an Israelite, if daddy's in jail or you never met daddy, well, you got brother DFG. So I'm an Israelite, just like your daddy was an Israelite, we hope. If you're an Israelite, he was. Then guess what? I'm your surrogate father. So you have no excuse. So come on in. Come on. You're welcome. But you're going to have to listen and be prepared to learn and stop being an individualist and divisive and arrogant and high-minded. Humble yourself, learn, teach, so you can go out and fulfill your purpose by being a leader and a light to those who Abba Yah has ascribed to you, my dear brother and sisters. Different role, same purpose. Verse 34. And then I'm done. And Abraham still rebuked Satan, and Satan went from them, saying he could not prevail over them. Where there are 2 or 3 gathered in my name, Abba Yah has gone even greater power, brothers. So that's why you don't want to be by yourself. See, he could have got Isaac by himself. But see, Isaac had his father. And when his father came down and said, nah, that is the devil, that is Satan, Satan had to do what he had to run off. He had to go bye-bye. See what else he could do. Cause some destruction elsewhere. And Abraham still rebuked Satan, and Satan went from them, and seeing he could not prevail over them, he hid himself, transformed himself again, hid his appearance, his character, his behavior. He hid himself from them and went and passed before them in the road. And he transformed himself into a large brook of water in the road. And Abraham and Isaac and his 2 young men reached the place that they saw a brook and a large and as powerful and mighty water. In other words, they saw almost a raging river. You know, like those rivers up in the Wyoming and those mountains, those rivers that are very violent and that water is moving real fast. I forgot the name they call it. That's where they go rafting, river rafting and stuff like that. That's what Satan had created, made himself to become, brothers and sisters. So for those of you who think he does not have power over the transfer of things and situations, they can not only become human, but they can also become conditions to hold you back. They can be that job you got or the job you didn't get. Just so you know, it could be that ship you got on thinking you were going to the motherland and you were going to, the bottom of the ocean. That spaceship they talking about, Cherry coming out the sky that you get on, that when it takes you away, you ain't going to where you think you're going. Because he can do it. That's why you need to be in the book. With like-minded believers, but you can't be in this book using what you want to use. Well, the chariots and the ships are true, but you believe in Jesus, which is a lie. Talking about he died for your sins. That's who you pray to. Well, if that's who you're praying to, I would strongly advise you not to get on that ship. If that's who you think is your savior, sister, I advise you don't get on the spaceship, okay? It's a deception. I would advise you not to get on it. But you won't listen. You're going to get on it anyway because, again, it doesn't matter what we say. It don't matter what the book says. And that's okay. But that's what you're going to do. But like our brother Joshua reminded, y'all go do whatever y'all want to do. But as for me and my house, we're going to obey Abba Yah. We're going to do what Yah tells us to do. And y'all got me up early this morning, woke me up early this morning to do just that, brother. So y'all can finish it up on your own time. The story, he does the same thing to Sarah. And ultimately Sarah, because she bought in and started listening, ultimately she lost her life for entertaining Satan. But you can study that out. But I just wanted to, again, bring out to my brothers and sisters that, our enemy knows how to manifest himself. And it's important for us to understand because many of our people are going to, as we start to wake up, they're going to be agents out there who are going to tell us to go back to sleep. Satan he's going to put all these agenda pushers out there. He's going to tell us, they're going to tell many of our people, don't listen to your leaders. I'm talking about those who are following like the Abrahams among us. They're going to tell you, oh, don't listen to them. They're silly. They're crazy. Don't believe that stuff. And many of our young people, especially, are going to go right along with them, thinking that it's a new thing and that these people, because, she looked like you and you want to look like her. She looked like, Sierra and you like the way Sierra looked. So if Sierra said it because you like the way she looked and you like the fact that she got bank, then that's what you're going to do. Then you're going to go right where Sierra is going, and Sierra is going to hell. Oh, you judging? No, I'm not. The book is judging. I'm just reciting and repeating since no one else want to tell you. I'll do it. But that being said, my dear brothers and sisters, thank you for your time. Again, this was not planned by your brother. Y'all woke me up 4 days this morning. Laying there and he telling me all these things. Told me about, talking about, learn not the ways of the heathens. Teaching is repeating. He told me to go in and tell my people about this trans stuff, this transgender, trans anything is not of him. Anytime they start talking about taking the way the natural use of a man or woman, it's not Abba Yah. If it's talking about replacing men with technology or whatever, artificial, that is not of Abba Yah. So he told me to come up and warn my brothers and sisters before it's too late. And that's what I did. I was obedient. Whether you listen or heard or not, that's totally up to you. I've always said that. I don't have no church to win you over to. We're Israel. And if you're an Israelite, then you're Israel too. But that in itself is not enough to escape the damnation that's coming to this earth, brothers and sisters. Your bloodline is not going to save you from the fire to come. Your obedience, along with being of the bloodline, is what's going to save you. You need them both. And if you're the stranger, you can always repent, align yourself, and shut your mouth, and humble yourself, and be quiet. Don't be a disruption. Support Israel, and keep the law, statutes, and commandments, and get up under leadership, and wait until Yah comes, settles the score here, and then you can be a good servant in the world to come. That's what he offers you. Or you can burn in hell. Makes no difference to me. Think I got it all? Aliens, strangers, foreigners, outsiders, non-resident, outcast, non-native, outlander, a pariah, one who destroys or despises, and one who disrespects the people of Israel. Brothers and sisters, I want to say to you guys again, I appreciate your support of this channel. Thumb up the message if you find it to be edifying in any way. I also ask that you share the video with those that matter to you. I invite you to be a part, of our studies every Wednesday night, 7 p.m. Central Time. 1-800-357-0254. 7 p.m. Central Time. And then last but not least, I want to appreciate all of you brothers and sisters who have been able to find in your heart, to support your brother as we move forward. And I have to say this because I need to say it. Some of you may have seen that the channel had gotten monetized about a month or so back, YouTube. And, there was a struggle to make that decision because, I felt personally maybe that they would allow for me to be able to continue to do Yah's work without burdening in my brothers and sisters. And in truth, that was not Abba Yah's will. So this channel has been demonetized by my decision, not YouTube. I didn't get in trouble with no YouTube. I don't want my heathens to be using Yah's message or Yah's platform to promote their agendas. So whatever support that you're sharing, that's the support your brother will be benefiting from. Okay? So that's that for that. And that being said, may Yah bless you. Yah keep your eyes open. Brothers and sisters, we're getting close. Can't y'all feel it? There's one side of your heart should be like happy, yay. But another side you should be like, I got to get myself together. All right? Because it's time. We're here for you. We're a community of believers assembling ourselves together. And Yah willing, we will come out. All right? This is a group right here. We're going to come out. If you've been in any kind of unnatural anything, relationships included, come out. End it. Be done with it. Do not go down with these devils. Because if they were righteous, they would end it. But because they're like lazy, as a lazy, no, I just want this. Of course you do. Because it doesn't belong to you. But anyway, that being said, brothers and sisters, love you and Yah. Yah willing, we'll talk to you tomorrow night Bible study. All right, we'll see what Yah has I know one thing. This is one thing I can show you. It's going to be in the Apocryphal books. So if you can adjourn us, it's going to be in the Apocryphal books. For some reason, I think Maccabees, but we'll see. All right? Love you, brothers. DFG. Bye now. Sisters, too. Sorry. Bye now. Bye, Israel.